Imagine waking up in a world where a single, clandestine shipment of missiles could tilt the entire balance of power in one of the globe's most volatile regions. This is not some distant dystopian fantasy or the plot of a Hollywood blockbuster. This is the new reality, unfolding right before our eyes. Behind layers of secrecy and diplomatic maneuvering, Iran has just taken delivery of state-of-the-art HQ-9 Bravo surface-to-air missile systems from China. But this story is far more than a tale of missiles and military hardware. It is a window into how oil, technology, and shifting alliances are redrawing the global map, upending decades of assumptions from Washington to Beijing to Tel Aviv. To grasp how we arrived at this pivotal moment, let's spin back the clock. For years, Iran's air defense network has been a hodgepodge, an intricate, sometimes improvised patchwork of Russian-made S-300 and S-200 batteries, Chinese equipment like the HQ-2, and a growing stable of locally engineered systems such as the Bavar 373 and Khordad series. This eclectic mix was born not from luxury, but necessity. International sanctions, devastating Israeli airstrikes, and relentless cyber attacks have forced Iranian engineers to become master improvisers, often racing to rebuild what was destroyed just weeks or months before. The latest crisis began only a few months ago, when Israel, alarmed by intelligence of looming Iranian missile advances, launched a ferocious 12-day aerial campaign. In less than 2 weeks, Israeli jets and drones targeted and decimated Iranian missile bases, radar sites, command centers, and crucial infrastructure. The strikes were surgical and, by many accounts, devastating. More than a dozen senior Iranian generals and scientists lost their lives. Israel achieved temporary air supremacy over Iranian skies, disrupting command networks and, at least for a moment, crippling Iran's ability to project power beyond its borders. Yet, even amid relentless bombardment, Iran managed to launch a series of retaliatory missile attacks that struck targets in Tel Aviv and Haifa. The world watched, anxious, as the conflict teetered on the edge of spiraling out of control before a fragile ceasefire took effect on June 24, 2025. But what followed next caught even the most seasoned intelligence analysts off guard. While smoke still lingered over battered Iranian bases, Tehran's diplomats and generals wasted no time. Within weeks, shipments of Chinese-made HQ-9 Bravo surface-to-air missile batteries began arriving on Iranian soil. The exact quantity remains a tightly guarded secret, with neither Beijing nor Tehran offering official confirmation. But Arab intelligence sources, cited by Middle East Eye on July 7, 2025, insist the deliveries are real and significant. These batteries were not purchased in cash, but through a barter system. Tehran sent Beijing vast shipments of crude oil, deftly sidestepping the labyrinth of Western sanctions designed to choke off its military ambitions. This oil for missile swap not only gives Iran new teeth, but also deepens an economic and strategic partnership with China that is starting to rattle the pillars of the old world order. To appreciate why this matters, let's examine the HQ-9 Bravo itself. Developed by China Precision Machinery Import and Export Corporation, the HQ-9 Bravo is not just another missile system. It is a technological marvel, blending Russian engineering DNA from the S-300 family with cutting-edge Chinese radar, advanced electronics, and indigenous innovation. Each battery typically comprises a central command post, an HT-233 S-band phased array radar, capable of sweeping the heavens in a full 360-degree arc, acquisition radars to scan for threats, and between 6 and 8 transporter erector launchers, massive trucks that can deploy and fire missiles within minutes. The numbers behind the HQ-9 Bravo are staggering. The system can track up to 100 aerial targets at once, everything from stealth bombers and fighter jets to cruise missiles and unmanned drones. It can engage between 6 and 8 threats simultaneously, launching interceptor missiles at blistering speeds of over Mach 4.2, more than 4 times the speed of sound. With a maximum range of 260 kilometers and a ceiling of 27 kilometers, the HQ-9 Bravo can swat down targets as high as the stratosphere and as far away as neighboring capitals. Its advanced guidance package combines inertial navigation, mid-course corrections via encrypted data link, and terminal phase active radar homing, making it exceptionally hard to evade, even for stealth aircraft employing electronic countermeasures. This is not just about numbers or technical specifications. It is about reshaping the strategic landscape. As Middle East Eye observed, this shipment signals a deepening of Beijing's relationship with Tehran, even as some Western observers see China and Russia pulling away from Iran amid recent Israeli actions. The Foundation for Defense of Democracies, a leading Washington think tank, adds, China's support for Iran's missile program is not new, but it has never been this bold. But why is the world's political class, from the White House Situation Room to Riyadh's royal court, so anxious about this deal? The answer lies in the transaction's structure. Bartering oil for missiles is not just an accounting trick. It is a geopolitical chess move designed to frustrate U.S.-led efforts to isolate Iran. For years, China has been Iran's top oil customer, providing a vital economic lifeline and, in turn, gaining privileged access to Iranian energy resources at discounted rates. This relationship forms the backbone of a sweeping 25-year cooperation agreement between Beijing and Tehran, encompassing infrastructure investment, technology transfer, and military collaboration. The recent HQ-9 Bravo deal is just the latest and boldest expression of this growing alignment. The ripple effects are immense. For the United States and its allies, this arrangement undermines years of sanctions and diplomatic pressure. Washington has responded with a new wave of sanctions targeting Chinese and Iranian companies tied to missile procurement and logistics. But Beijing, ever adept at navigating gray zones, uses a web of front companies in Hong Kong and the Gulf to mask shipments and avoid direct confrontation. Chinese firms such as Lion Commodities Holdings, operating out of Hong Kong, have been linked to contracts with Iranian procurement fronts like Pishkaman Tejarat Rafi Novin Company. Western intelligence agencies are now racing to track the flow of components, chemicals, and dual-use industrial materials that could further supercharge Iran's missile factories. The story deepens further when we look at the logistics behind Iran's missile program. Earlier this year, Iranian ships quietly transported over 1,000 tons of sodium perchlorate from Chinese ports, a key ingredient in the production of solid rocket fuel. According to shipping data and U.S. intelligence, this shipment alone is sufficient to manufacture approximately 260 short-range ballistic missiles. And that is not the end of it. Sources suggest a much larger order. Several thousand tons of ammonium perchlorate is en route to Iran, enough to fuel up to 800 missiles. Some of these materials may even be diverted to Iranian-aligned militias, such as the Houthis in Yemen, and allied groups in Iraq, amplifying Tehran's reach across the region. To understand the broader context, let's examine Iran's current air defense network. Over the past decade, Iran has built an impressive, layered web of defensive assets. In addition to the new HQ-9 Bravo systems, Iran fields 4 batteries of Russian S-300 PMU-2 systems, several batteries of the indigenous Bavar 373 with upgraded variants boasting ranges above 300 kilometers, and more than 40 batteries of the Khordad and Sayyad series. Other long-range platforms include the Arman, capable of intercepting targets at 180 kilometers and reaching speeds up to Mach 6.5, and the S-200 Gareh, with an extended range of up to 350 kilometers. Medium-range systems such as the Rayad series, upgraded 2K-12 Cub, AD-40, Mersad, and improved Hawk provide coverage against lower-flying threats. The network is further bolstered by short-range platforms like the Hertz 9, Kamin 2, Yazahra 3, Azaraksh, and a host of man-portable air defense systems, including the Misag family and Sohail launchers. Artillery-based defenses, such as the radar-guided ZSU-23 Shilka, ZSU-57-2, ZU-23-2, and modernized 100mm and 35mm autocannons, complete the defensive tapestry. The integration of the HQ-9 Bravo into this already formidable network significantly enhances Iran's ability to detect, track, and destroy the most sophisticated incoming threats, including stealth platforms and hypersonic munitions. Let's not forget, the HQ-9 Bravo itself is still relatively untested in actual combat. However, Chinese military exercises have demonstrated its prowess, with the People's Liberation Army intercepting 4 unmanned aerial vehicles with 4 shots during a live-fire exercise in May 2021. In addition to Iran, Egypt has begun integrating HQ-9 Bravo batteries into its air defense grid, supported by Chinese KJ-500 radar aircraft. The export version, known as the FD-2000 Bravo, is now being aggressively marketed as a cost-effective rival to U.S. Patriot and French SAM-PT systems, appealing to countries seeking advanced defense without the strings attached to Western arms deals. But here's the real strategic dilemma. As Iran's air defenses grow stronger, could this embolden Tehran to adopt a more assertive or even confrontational posture? Some analysts fear this leap in capability may trigger a regional arms race, with neighbors like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates scrambling to upgrade their own arsenals. In early July, Egypt was reported to be in advanced talks to expand its own fleet of Chinese air defense batteries, hoping to keep pace with Iran's technological leap. The skies over the Middle East may soon be bristling with the overlapping radar beams and interception arcs of rival missile networks, creating a tense standoff where any miscalculation could escalate into open conflict. The implications go far beyond the region. China's rising role as Iran's security partner is now impossible to ignore. By trading oil for advanced weaponry, Beijing is embedding itself as a power broker in the Middle East, challenging the traditional dominance of the United States and, to a lesser extent, Russia. The Atlantic Council notes, China is quietly becoming the indispensable power broker in the region, one oil barrel and missile shipment at a time. This shift is emblematic of a deeper trend toward multipolarity, where influence is no longer monopolized by a single superpower, but distributed among several regional and global players. For U.S. policymakers, the HQ-9 Bravo deal is a wake-up call. Years of sanctions and diplomatic pressure have not only failed to isolate Iran, but may have driven it closer into Beijing's orbit. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has publicly acknowledged China's role as Iran's top oil importer, calling it an economic lifeline that blunts the bite of international sanctions. In response, Washington is ratcheting up pressure on Chinese firms and individuals involved in missile procurement, but so far, these efforts have only led to more creative and covert methods of supply. Meanwhile, the technical sophistication of the HQ-9 Bravo raises the stakes for Israel and other potential adversaries. As one analyst from the Middle East Institute told Reuters, for the first time in years, Israeli and American planners must reconsider the costs and risks of any overflight or airstrike on Iranian targets. The margin for error has shrunk. No longer can foreign militaries assume uncontested access to Iranian airspace. Any new campaign would have to contend with a layered, modernized defense that could inflict severe losses, even on highly advanced aircraft. But the story does not end at Iran's borders. The same technologies and supply chains that enable Iranian missile production are also being funneled to allied militias across the Middle East. U.S. Department of Defense reports have traced procurement networks through Chinese suppliers, providing the Houthis in Yemen and Shia groups in Iraq with the critical components needed to build their own unmanned aerial vehicles and missiles. This creates a diffusion of advanced capabilities that threatens to destabilize already fragile states and escalate proxy conflicts. Let's consider the economic angle. China's willingness to barter missiles for oil is a masterstroke of economic statecraft, and not only does it secure energy supplies for China's ever-growing economy, now the world's largest by purchasing power parity, but it also enables Iran to monetize resources otherwise blocked from the global market. This barter system, reminiscent of Cold War-era deals between the Soviet Union and its allies, allows both sides to circumvent U.S.-controlled financial channels, insulating them from dollar-based sanctions. For China, this is also a way to project influence without deploying troops or risking direct military entanglement, a strategy sometimes called geoeconomic leverage. The consequences for global markets are profound. Whenever sanctions tighten, new trade routes, barter arrangements, and shadow logistics emerge. Oil is no longer just a commodity fueling cars and factories. It is now a currency for buying missiles, funding radar arrays, and forging new alliances. Investors and policymakers should pay close attention to these hidden exchanges. When a single shipment can alter the calculus of power, the next round of sanctions, or a surprise military exercise, could send markets into turmoil overnight. Looking ahead, several scenarios are possible. The first, and most worrying, is a spiraling arms race. As Iran strengthens its shield, rivals like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and even Turkey may seek their own upgrades, either from China, Russia, or Western suppliers. The region could soon see competing networks of advanced air defense systems, raising the risk of accidental escalation and making any future conflict vastly more destructive. Egypt's recent interest in expanding its HQ-9 Bravo fleet, combined with its joint exercises with Chinese radar aircraft, is a clear sign that this process is already underway. A second scenario is the potential for preemptive action. Israel, having suffered direct missile attacks on Tel Aviv and Haifa, may feel compelled to act before the new Iranian defenses reach full operational status. This could mean cyber attacks, sabotage of supply chains, or even another round of airstrikes, each option carrying immense risks of regional war. A third, More optimistic scenario is that the new balance of power could force all sides to the negotiating table. With no side able to guarantee a quick and decisive victory, there may be greater incentive for diplomacy, arms control, or confidence-building measures. However, this outcome would require a level of trust and communication that has so far proved elusive in the Middle East. The U.S., for its part, is likely to double down on sanctions, targeting not just Iran, but also Chinese and Hong Kong-based intermediaries. Western intelligence agencies are already tracking obscure logistics companies and brokers in the Gulf, searching for ways to choke off the flow of critical components. In parallel, Washington is seeking to reassure allies with new arms sales and joint military exercises, hoping to maintain its fading influence. What lessons can ordinary viewers draw from this dramatic shift? Above all, the story of Iran's HQ-9 Bravo deal underscores the inseparability of geopolitics and technology. Whenever one door closes through sanctions or diplomatic isolation, new windows open, often in the form of barter, dual-use trade, and clandestine supply chains. Understanding these invisible networks gives you a front-row seat to the real balance of power, well beyond the headlines or official statements. For investors, analysts, and businesses, the message is clear. Monitor the defense technology supply chains, energy flows, and the companies navigating these gray zones. The next shift in the global order may not be signaled by a summit or a treaty, but by an obscure shipping manifest or a sudden spike in commodity prices. As multipolarity becomes a lived reality, the old playbook of sanctions and alliances is being rewritten. For policymakers, the challenge is to adapt to a world where regional conflicts are no longer local. Moves made in Beijing or Tehran echo across continents, affecting how Washington, Riyadh, Cairo, and even Moscow plan for the future. As Dr. Nadia Rahimi, a defense expert based in Dubai, puts it, multipolarity isn't a distant theory anymore. It's happening right now, in real time, through every oil shipment and missile delivery. The question remains, has Iran's new shield truly shifted the balance of power? The answer is yes, but not in a way that brings clarity or comfort. For Iran, the HQ-9 Bravo restores some lost strength and deters immediate threats, buying time to rebuild and rearm. For China, it cements a new foothold in the very heart of the Middle East, projecting influence without firing a shot. For the United States and its allies, it complicates every future move, forcing a reconsideration of strategies that have long relied on technological superiority and economic pressure. And here is a secret fact, one not widely reported but deeply significant. The very same HQ-9 Bravo radar arrays now watching over Iranian skies are built on technology originally developed by the Chinese military to track low Earth orbit satellites, a capability that, in the future, could extend beyond air defense to the realm of space security, communications, and even anti-satellite operations. The lines between air, space, and cyber domains are blurring, and each new deal inches us closer to a world where the next surprise may come from above, unseen and unanticipated. In the end, the HQ-9 Bravo saga is a reminder that the true engines of global change are often hidden inside shipping containers, behind encrypted contracts, within the algorithms of radar systems. As alliances shift and the rules of engagement evolve, one thing is certain: the world's balance of power is now being negotiated, one clandestine deal at a time. If you want to keep up with these hidden moves and the next unexpected alliance, subscribe and turn on notifications. Do you think this new arms race will spiral out of control, or will it force a new, uneasy balance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss how technology, oil, and strategy